been a while since I got a chance to, really talk about tokenization because I've been kind of out of the loop. This Guardians of the Galaxy book has been sitting on top of my stack for, I don't know, 3 months because that's how far back I am. I haven't even touched this. You see me pull this exact book right here because the stack is collecting dust because I'm so far behind. I got boxes and bags of all kinds of comic books around. So yeah, we're kind of all the way out of the loop right now. So there is tokenization going on in the comic books. I've not got a chance to really talk about because I have not been up to date with it. That's something that I pride myself in doing, really dissecting the material before I go into it. And then quite often I read material so you don't have to. But if you have not heard the news, Titans season 3, which how that made it to 3 seasons, I don't know. But they are casting a guy that is not white as Tim Drake actually is as Tim Drake. If you have not heard the news, I'm sorry to break it to you, but yes, we have yet another tokenization going on. This is obviously being reported from Variety a few days ago. Cast J. Lou Kurgo as Kurgo. I don't know how to say his last name, as Tim Drake. Now, I want to say this. Titan sucks, okay? I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there. Just get it out the way. The show sucks. See, and it's not just because of the tokenization. I was talking about this show early on when we first got our first tokenization and really with the whole Starfire situation and her being not bronze, orange, nothing. She's just straight up a black chick and she acts nothing like her. And, people kept telling me you need to give it a chance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, this show is trash. Like Titans is not a good show. It's actually one of the worst DC's. It's actually worse than some of the CW shows. Like the show is not good at all. And I've talked about it on the channel plenty of times. So let's go ahead and get that out the way. This whole idea, well, it's a decent show. No, it's not. It's not good. It wasn't good from the start. The show sucks. Now that that's out the way, I think, because I've been talking about this for years, and some people thought that I was like either overreacting or it was just misapplied. Now, I don't think anybody can disagree now that the tokenization is intentional. It's intentional. It's not one of those situations which some of you guys will claim maybe they're just the best person for the job. SpongeBob meme. No, that's never the case. There is no shortage of actors and actresses that are the same race of the characters that they are playing. This is intentional. And if for those of you that have been around either Hollywood or been around, film production, that they get precise with the type of person that they're looking for to fill a role. From usually the height on down. Like this, we were looking for someone that looks like this, okay? This is intentional. And then, we got even news, for example, with Birds of Prey, which was god-awful, and how they were intentionally trying to cast Black Canary as a biracial chick, right? This is just what they do. It's not a thing where we just had just one actor that just knocked it out of the park, that just captured the essence of this character so well, but they happen to be the opposite race. No, it's an intentional thing. They go out of their way to do that. Now, again, I've done a billion videos on this topic, but if you don't know, not only just obviously why they do it, it's the whole, definitely it's going to ramp up because, we're dealing with this whole, everybody's hyper emphasizing the idea of non-white straight characters, right? And if you look at it from the outside looking in, which is most people that would even like something like Titans, it's not going to be actual comic book readers. It'll be guys that may Google stuff real fast and find out information on the character and then become super fans, people that are fans of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Those type of guys that don't ever read books. Everything they actually know about the character is from a Google wiki or or what they got from the show, right? Or the movie. So there's no precedent there. They have no expectation there. So of course they're going to be perfectly fine with the character being race changed. But see, my issue with shows like the Titans, it's not even just about the race. The characters act absolutely nothing as what you would expect them to act in the event that you're a comic book reader, right? And that's what's frustrating for us. So again, if you're on the outside looking in, one of those normies that I'm talking about, the reason why it's so frustrating for some of guys like us is because we sit up here and we've read these books for years, for decades even, and people that are older than me. And when something gets announced that is going to, okay, we're grabbing a character, or we're grabbing a group of characters, a team from a comic book, from comic books, and we're going to make a live action depiction, that excites us. That excites us. That is an awesome thing. We're like, oh wow, we're going to get this this character that some of us have known and loved, and we're finally going to see a live action version of them. And then when the live action version comes, the live action version looks either nothing like we expect them to look, or more precisely, they act nothing like the character is expecting to act. They're not even trying with Tim Drake. They're telling you is described as a streetwise kid who's managed to grow up on the toughest streets, typical black bullshit. Every black character, that's their background, right? Every single one, without losing his indelible belief in heroism. First of all, that has nothing to do with Tim Drake. That is not Tim Drake's backstory. That is not his backstory. He was a guy that a youngster that had admired both Batman and Robin, Dick Grayson Robin. And, at some point he does become, Robin, after first being, of course, trained. I think it was by Alfred first, and then it was by, Batman and Dick Grayson. This is not Tim Drake. This is not Tim Drake. And if anything, it's more akin to maybe Jason Todd than Tim Drake. That's not Tim Drake. See, and that's the frustration about it from the outside looking in. Or if you don't understand from the outside looking in, it's a frustration from guys and why we're so against this type of stuff, because all they do is try to take characters that people are familiar with and they completely change them. They change their race, they change how they act, they change their backstory. And we're like, why even utilize the character if that's what you're going to do? What's the point? So, of course, we have a right to be frustrated or talk down on it or be against this nonsense, because you're taking characters that we've long been familiar with. You bring them into the live action setting, which should be an exciting one, and they're not even a shell of themselves. You completely change this backstory. You change this race. So, and everything, just like the other characters in Titan, especially Starfire, is only Starfire in name, only Tim Drake in name. They aren't the characters. And if you don't, and the reason why it's so easy for normies to accept this, and this is the point that I continue to make, the reason why it's so easy for them, because again, they don't read these damn things, right? They don't read these books. They have no idea what's going on there. So this is their first introduction to the character. The character can be completely changed, and because they have zero connection to him, it doesn't matter. So of course they'll make a Stan account or something after the fact. I'm sure this Jay guy is gonna have a bunch of Stan accounts. Look at this. Look at my Tim Drake, and people on Twitter. Those really weird people that be bombarding my Twitter mentions because I come out with a new video talking against their goofy looking character that they came out with, and they get upset at that. But that's what they'll do. They'll probably cosplay the character. They'll do stuff like that, but they don't read fucking books. They don't read books. They don't know who these guys are, and they have zero connection. Race change actually excites them. They love that stuff. We already covered that on the channel. These weird Stan accounts talking about, bragging about the fact that all the redheads are changing and all of this sort of stuff. They get off on this. They get off. And of course, they're going to use it as a signal. Look at us. Look, the only point that I mainly want to make out of this is you need to shut up in the event that you are one of those guys that is claiming that they do this because this is the best actor for the role. That never happens. That never happens. When they cast these characters as non-white characters as they have historically been, they do that with intention, okay? That is purposeful. They don't do that by accident. It was not some open tryout with a black guy just so happened to be the one that just knocked it out the park. No, that doesn't exist. Now, of course, could they come up with original characters that are black? I mean, yeah, but I guess that would be too much work. Not at all. It's too difficult for them to come up with an original black character. Or biracial, because this guy is hella light skinned. So I don't, whatever he is, they can come out with a character like that, an original, even if it was for the Titan show, and he didn't exist in the books before. I mean, DC shows have done that. You've seen that with Diggle. He wasn't a thing before the comic books. You saw that with what's his name from the MCU. That then he didn't cross into the comic books after live. Harley Quinn is another example. Of that that showed up in a show before they showed up in an actual comic book. So if they wanted to do that, they could, but no, they take the character that everybody is familiar with, they race swap them, change them around just to make them something that they have never been. I mean, even with the whole Flash thing, you had that one episode where Iris's dad, that whole deal they've all been race swapped, right? He's sitting here talking about like, oh, I've been growing up as a black man, and I'm sitting here like, you're spitting in my, you're telling people that's why you did it. It's so painfully obvious. Well, you take a character, you make him a black character, and now he has to mention some struggle with race. Like, it can't be any more obvious. You're not doing this because this person was the best person for the job. No. And that doesn't mean that the person that is filling the role can't act, or something like that, or even you can't like the person that they are depicting. Just understand that the person they're depicting is not the character in the book. Just understand that. You can admit that, well, I like whoever that character is that he's playing, though he is only the character in comic book by name. Just say that. Just say that. But the tokenization, obviously, that got really old to me a long time ago. But as more of this happened and they do the backstory changes, you're seeing that they are not doing this because of this whole moronic idea where this person was the best for the job. Race isn't essential to the character, all that type of dumb shit that they'll get out there and say to try to rationalize with this moronic idea. Look, it's lazy, but it's purposeful. And I just want y'all to admit that. That's all.